What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is November the 22nd. I want to give you a quick pre-market update, go over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing on this fun Friday morning. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, as far as data points, only thing to really watch for today is manufacturing, and in all honesty, I think this was the only hot data for this whole week, but forecast right now is 49.2. In theory, anything below 50 shows more of a contraction within the broader market. Anything above 50 shows more of an expansion. And the last several reports, it's been improving. I think it did have a low a couple months ago of 46, so it is kind of showing that the market is improving, but still going to come down onto the data, so that's what a lot of people will be watching. Aside from that, I think just the market is going to be digesting every company that unveiled their earnings this week and what it does truly mean. Right now, you see the futures slightly red, so NASDAQ down 0.21, S&P down 0.05, and Dow is up slightly 0.02. So we'll just have to, I guess, essentially wait and see. This morning, it was a lot worse for wear, but essentially right now the fear and greed index is under the greed category, especially with the amount of just FOMO in the market. I think this was the writing on the wall, so meaning people's appetite for risk is on the table, very apparent based on a lot of the stocks I'm going to be talking on. Starting off with Sofi, up 1.93%. No news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. They might be putting out news. For those of you that watched my dedicated channel or dedicated Sofi video yesterday, there was stuff that did come out about Galileo. So essentially they could put that in a form of PR and make that official. So that might be coming out later today, in my opinion. Right now, 14.06% of the free float is being shorted. It works out to be 149.75 million shares overall are being shorted. And yesterday was the first day in almost like 4 days that shorts did increase. It wasn't anything significant. It was only like 100 or 250,000 shares. But anticipate them to be rather active today out of anything, only because of this. So this is the current outlook for the open interest. And we've seen in the past, shorts tried to bring it down close to a strike price. So with it at right now 15 and change, just watch for them to try to bring it down sub 15. Just in case. So you have 20,000 in open interest at that $15 strike price, 17,000 at that $14.50. So they might again try to bring it down essentially, but with it right now at 15.27, it is trading between this R3 and this R2. So 15.96 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. And then quickly going over here, 14.58 is going to be the next strong support. I don't anticipate that being touched whatsoever today. And yeah, I still do see a lot more upside with Sofi, a new 52-week high. But as I alluded to in my video yesterday, a lot of stocks are getting rather hot. So you might see first sign of weakness, a lot of volatility, and possibly the manufacturing data that is coming out today could be that X catalyst if it is below that forecast of 49.2. So just be prepared for everything. Right now, PayPal's getting a abnormal amount of volume, which is kind of interesting because they haven't put out any news, nothing like that. So I think just fintechs are getting a lot of attention. So again, something just to keep in mind. It's not heavily shorted, so only 2.35% of the free float is being shorted for PayPal. So nothing really to write home about for that. And right now with that 84 and change, it is trading between this R3 and this R2. So 87.34 is going to be the next strong target, which I don't see being touched whatsoever today. And then 84.41 is going to be the next strong support. And most likely, given just the market, how it shows that it wants to pull back slightly, I think it's just going to flirt with this R2 throughout the day. So let me know your thoughts on that. The following support on a side note is 82.61. Moving on, MicroStrategy. So this one, very volatile. See, it's kind of showing some signs of it wanting to move higher this morning, despite no news, nothing like that. But it was all because of that one short report that came out. So one entity just said that's overvalued and blah blah blah, and yeah, honestly, crazy volatility. So I had a high of $543 yesterday, so hit a new high, record high for that, and then it just started to pull down. So It's interesting if for those of you that like options and love premiums, this stock is like bar none. If you actually even just think it is going to maintain itself just for one day, you're going to get roughly like $4,000 just for one option. So it's kind of crazy if you think about it. So I was thinking about dabbling in it possibly, but it's a whole different level of risk. With it right now at $402, it is trading between, actually, my apologies. So it is actually trading between these 2 points right here. So this R3 and this R2. So 429 is going to be the next strong target. And then 394, 373, 338. Just in case, throwing it out there in case they have another flash crash and it goes down that way. So yeah, definitely just watch for the data points in my opinion. But moving on, SoundHound is up 6.88%. No news today, so I did a dedicated video on SoundHound yesterday, and honestly, I'm a very big fan of SoundHound. I really do see a lot of upside, and I feel realistically it should be in the double digits right now. And I've been stating this is a screaming buying opportunity on my Patreon. So I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, and they've been absolutely killing it. So when it was at like $5, I said this is a screaming buy, and lo and behold, here we are. But like I said, I still do feel a lot more upside is coming. So the market's finally catching on that, hey, SoundHound is actually cheap in comparison to a lot of AIs. And the reason why it's cheap is because it's heavily manipulated by shorts. So 24.64% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 80.81 million shares overall are being shorted. Right now with at 737, trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 743 is going to be the next strong kind of target. Actually, just refresh, so it's above that. So 785 is going to be the next strong target. 743 and then 675 will be the next strong supports. I don't see this pivot point being touched of 675 whatsoever. So I think the market, like I said, is just catching on that this is a screaming buying opportunity. So on a side note, if you want to take a look at my Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments for a lot of the other massive wins I've been putting out there. So stay tuned for that. And then finally, ticker QUBT. So this one is gaining a second run, and honestly, this is a interesting stock. And so over the last little bit, you've seen a lot of volatility, but it is gaining more and more momentum, largely linked to this. Just people's appetite for risk is starting to be back on the table. Bitcoin is hitting just all-time highs right now. Actually, I'll double check. I know symbolically if it hit the 100. So it hit 99.5. So we'll see if minor consolidation, and then over the weekend if it pushes higher to test that 100,000. But ultimately, this stock is moving up because of that, just the amount of optimism associated to just Bitcoin, as well as just semis running. So yeah, this is a stock, if you are going to invest, it's not for the faint of heart. Based on the summary, Seeking Alpha analysts see this as a strong buy. Wall Street sees this as a strong buy, and then the quantitative data sees this as a strong buy. So something to kind of consider. It's not all that heavily shorted, so 7.16% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 6.28 million shares. With it right now at 502, it is trading between this these 2 points, so this R2 and this R1. So 513 will be a strong target. 432 will be a strong support. I don't see that being touched whatsoever. If anything, it's the question is going to be how high can this run. So it did go up 29.35% yesterday. So you never know. In the next little bit, could touch its R3 or potentially higher than that. As I mentioned, when this started to gain hype right here, I didn't see this feasible, but then again, if you have a higher risk tolerance, and this, you could make some pretty good money off of this. Just time it right and all the other fun jazz. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. 2 things I want to share with you. Take advantage of this promo because it gives you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is a kick-ass deal that you must take advantage of, only up until November the 30th. And then aside from that, definitely pop over there to my Patreon in the description below and see all the buy signals that I do have out there. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.